Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm doing an unboxing and first look of the FUEGO Hajime no Ippo boxing shoes. So check it out. Hey, what's up guys? Carlo here. Today I'm excited to bring you an unboxing and first look of the FUEGO Hajime no Ippo second edition boxing shoes. These are made in Japan and are a limited release through the Boxer Boutique, which is where I purchased these shoes from. They retail for $285. I got mine in the red and white colorway in size 11. You can also get it in a black and orange colorway anywhere between size 7 to size 12, and unfortunately they do not offer these shoes in half sizes. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this box open and take a look at the shoes. Now, FUEGO is a brand that's been around for several years now, and I remember when they first came out, I was really interested in getting the shoes. One, because they're made in Japan, so they're essentially like an alternative to Mizuno boxing shoes, which has pretty much been kind of like the gold standard when it comes to Japanese made boxing shoes over many years. And then FUEGO came out and you would see a lot of boxers from Asia, mainly like in Japan and the Philippines, that would wear their shoes. They have really amazing looking colorways. They also have some stock colorways. They also do have their own website. When you go onto their website, you'll notice that they have some stock colors like the Hajime no Ippo. They had their first run, which they obviously sold out of. Then they came out with their second run, which this is the one that I got here. But their official website, you can get the shoes from there, but they're pretty much all sold out. So essentially, all that's available really now on their website is to custom order shoes, which I think is a little bit more expensive if you were to custom order them. Also, if you're in Japan, I recently had a trip to Japan, but if you're in Japan, there's, I believe it's going to be Fight Shop, not Fight Shop. Now I can't even remember. I went to so many different fight shops in Japan that I visited. Isami in Tokyo, they do carry FUEGO shoes in stock there as well. So if you're lucky, they might have your size and you could purchase it, you know, at Isami Fight Shop in Japan. But they do have it there as well. So anyhow, let's go ahead and get the box open. So first things first, you do have the Ippo artwork on the front of the white box right there in Japanese. The fighting boxing shoes says FUEGO, and it shows him kneeling down and tying his shoes. Go ahead and get the box out. So you have that. You can see it for yourself. Looks amazing. All right, so got the box out. So you have that on the front. Show you guys the other side. So it does show you the colorway, made in Japan. And in Japanese sizing, it's 29 centimeters, size 11 in US. UK, it's 10, and Europe, it's 45. So it's kind of nice that they give you a little bit of a sizing chart there. So you can use that for reference, and you can see the colorway, red and white. On the other side of the box, again, you have the same thing with Ippo. On the bottom, nothing there. On this side, just says FUEGO. Over here, it says never surrender. So really cool presentation. The box looks very nice. That looks good. So let's go ahead and get this box open. Next thing up, you do have this nylon bag, this carrying drawstring bag on the inside. Go ahead and put this box away. So you have that there. It does say never surrender, FUEGO, the fighting. So it has the Ippo in Japanese writing as well. Get this drawstring bag open, and let's take out the shoes. There you go. There you have it. So first thing first, you have the right shoe and the red, white, and black. You have a tag on here that shows care instructions, storing precautions, and other notes. Material on here is man-made leather, which is the upper, synthetic leather, and synthetic fiber. The material of the sole is rubber sole. The country of origin is Japan. Precautions for use: never wear heels by stepping on them. The heel counter built into the heel may be crushed, deformed, or damaged, resulting in foot injury. Always adjust shoelaces when putting on or taking off shoes. Do not put on or take off shoes forcibly with the shoelaces are tightened. So it's basically what they're telling you is don't be a lazy ass and put on your shoes properly. So, but they mean by the heel is like sometimes guys will people will slide their heel in, and instead of pulling up on this back tab and letting their heels properly slide into the heel cup or heel counter, they'll just jam their heel, and what ends up happening is they crush this right here. This is the support for your foot on the back side of your foot. So some people get really lazy, and instead of putting their shoes on like that, they'll just slide their shoe in and kind of force their heel into the shoe, which will crush this, which is definitely what you don't want to do with any shoe, but especially shoes that are almost $300. So keep that. That's basically what we're saying, and they're also saying that making sure that you, obviously, common sense. When you delace these shoes, loosen up the laces before you put your foot into the shoe. So they have that there, and they also have it written in Japanese, some storing instructions right there. So that's the right shoe. And here is the left. No tags on the left, so here is the right and the left together. I'll give you guys a little bit of a look from the front, the side. Here are the tops, the rears, and the bottom rubber outsole. Very similar to what you see in pretty much most Japanese boxing shoes. It's basically a textured rubber outsole. Very thin, as a traditional boxing shoe would be. So for those of you that are going to be wondering, well, can you train with these outside, and are these a good cross-training shoe? I can probably tell you right now, before even using them, that these are going to be more strictly for for boxing training in the gym or on the canvas in the ring. I would not use these, one, because they're expensive, but two, to me, this is not meant, just like Mizuno's and some other thin-soled traditional boxing shoes, these aren't meant for cross training. So if you're planning on doing conditioning and doing any type of box jumps or any type of rapid movement with your feet, I would not recommend that with these, probably because, one, they're not going to give you very much support, so you probably end up messing up your knees and your lower back, and then two, you're just going to grind down this outsole, which is going to prematurely wear it out for shoes like this. Now, you probably can find some type of shoe or leather artisan that could probably replace the soles eventually, I would think. But again, I would just be very mindful maybe to limit the shoe just to really strictly boxing training. So you have that rubber outsole. The design of the shoes look amazing. There's really no other shoe out there in the market, maybe outside of Mizuno, that look like these. In terms of shape, they're very kind of similar to the Mizunos, but the design is really cool looking, very eye-catching design. Especially if you get them in custom colorways that you can use multiple different colors instead of just red, white, and black. You can probably add more colors. And when I went to Tokyo Asami, they had multiple different colorway shoes, which look amazing. So you do have the leather, which is a red patent leather with some white synthetic mesh. You also have that white patent for the lace track, and then you have black laces as well. So you have the black laces, which gives you contrast to the inner synthetic on the inside of the shoe. So you have black on the inside, the black heel tab, a little bit of black on the back side. I would consider these probably more of a mid to high top, and then the black outsole. So between the red, white, and black, I think they did a really good job of giving you contrast between the three colors. You do have the lace holes right there. The laces on here, let me see here. They feel more like a strict kind of a cotton lace. A little bit on the thicker side, and you do have plastic tips. I'd say that they're medium in length. They're not extremely long, nor are they too short. Obviously, once I put these on, I'll be able to tell you how they feel. The tongue of the shoe shows the fighting. It has a Hajime no Ippo written on the front part of the tongue. The tongue on here also has that red patent leather material. The inside shows version 2, and then also your sizing on the inside of the tongue right there. So you have that. And the inside of the shoe, let me loosen up the laces a little bit so I can check out the inside tongue. You also do have a tongue lace holder right here as well. That basically holds the tongue up and prevents the tongue from dropping down into the shoe. The Let me loosen this up so I can see the inside, show you guys as well. They have these tightened down pretty tight when you first get them, so you have to really loosen up to kind of open up the inside of the shoe. Hopefully you guys don't hear me. I'm kind of congested. I think I caught something on my trip, so feeling a little under the weather. And you have the insole, which is a really thin insole, and it's glued to the bottom of the shoe. So technically you could remove it, but you'd end up ripping the glue off. So if somebody's looking at getting some custom orthotics in here for your own, for comfort, you can do so, but just keep in mind you'll end up ripping the thin insole that's already in here. So I'm going to use the shoes without it just because I want to see how they feel, the way they're designed when they build these shoes, and maybe eventually I'll put my own custom orthotics in there. For me, I usually do that because I want a little bit of a thicker insole for comfort. And the other reason why is if you have one, since these don't come in half sizes, at least on the Boxer Boutique's website, and that's actually brought up a good point. They do actually have these correction from earlier. So on the Boxer Boutique, they didn't have them in half sizes, but they do have them in half sizes available. So if you do custom order, or maybe if you get them from FUEGO's official website, you can get them in half sizes. So my bad, correction from earlier, but they do have it in half sizes right there. Obviously I didn't know that because I didn't see this before I opened the box, but you do have that available in half sizes. I always go size 11 when it comes to boxing shoes because I just have had a history of boxing shoes being too small and tight. I have wide feet. So I would probably recommend going half size up. When I do the review, I'll give you guys obviously the real lowdown on that, on how that feels. But I feel like these shoes are pretty promising for wide feet just because the upper here is pretty soft, especially on the outside corners right here. Typically this is where I find the most discomfort with boxing shoes when I wear them, because my feet are wider in this section, and this outside corner is what gives me like a callus on the side of my foot because of how tight it is. So that's definitely something to be mindful of. You also do have this kind of rubberized FUEGO logo that is embroidered or stitched into the side mesh right there. The gloves, excuse me, the shoes actually feel relatively lightweight. They don't feel heavy at all. I'm kind of interested in how they feel compared to like my Yami or even my Box Raw boxing shoes. So I'll have to put them on the scale next to each other. But just from feeling it with my hands, they definitely do feel relatively lightweight. So all in all, man, from a craftsmanship standpoint, these look really sharp. I would expect nothing less from a Japanese-made product. You'll notice that the stitching, the upper, all looks high-end and premium. Another cool thing is you don't really see any glue marks at all. Like sometimes when you get shoes, you'll notice that you'll see little areas where the glue might have seeped out a little bit, and you'll see the glue kind of dry up on the upper for where the outsole meets the upper. But on here, you'll notice that it all looks really good. Like there's no glue marks. Everything looks top notch in terms of quality. I think the big thing is obviously how these hold up when you train, because once you start training with boxing shoes, you guys already know that there's a lot of movement involved with your footwork, a lot of lateral movement, pivoting back and forth, you name it, you're going to be doing it all when you're boxing. So that's where you really find out how well these shoes hold up. I think in particular is the outsole, because a lot of times you're putting a lot of pressure on your feet when you're moving forward or backwards, especially if you're sparring. That's when you really know, because you're just moving constantly for 2 to 3 minutes, depending on how long the round is, and you're just putting a ton of pressure on the bottom of your foot moving. And oftentimes that's where you typically see the shoe starts to separate from the outsole from the shoe itself. So that's one area I'll be looking at, and then obviously just the other parts of the shoe on how well it holds up. But from my initial look of the shoe, I think these are going to be perfectly fine on how they hold up. I guess the outsole is really the only area I'd be really concerned with. But overall, beautiful looking shoes. I think they look amazing. I think they're priced well. All things considered, I think Mizuno's are anywhere between like $300 to $400 on up, depending on where you get them. So, if these shoes being sub $300, I think is a really good deal for a Japanese-made product that looks amazing. great designs, great availability and sizing, half sizes available, and just the colorways are super sharp. So overall, very satisfied with these so far. Can't wait to try these out, put them into training, and eventually do a review. So if you guys have any questions, make sure you guys put them down below, as well as your comments. I'll put the link in the description box where I got these FUEGO boxing shoes. I'll see you guys later. Peace.